Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to talk about estimating project times and costs. We have to know that inaccurate estimates lead to false expectations and customer dissatisfaction. That's why it's very important to be sure of our accuracy in estimating time and costs. Cost, time, and budget estimates are the lifeline for control. They serve as the standard for comparison of actual and plan throughout the life of the projects. If we are going to talk about estimating projects, time and cost, at the beginning we have to know what is estimating. Estimating is the process of forecasting or approximating the time and cost of completing project deliverables. That means we have now to identify the time and cost we need to complete each deliverable in our projects. Now we have to answer the question why estimating time and cost are important. The first reason is to support a good decision. We have to build our decision on an accurate estimation of time and costs. The second reason is to schedule work. We have to build our schedules on accurate estimating of time, and that will lead us to accurately identify the ending time of our project. Third, to determine how long the project should take and its cost. If we can identify the time and the cost each deliverable will take, that means we can determine how long the whole project will take in time and its total costs. To determine whether the project is worth doing, after estimating the project time and cost, if we find that this project will consume a lot of time or a huge cost, we have to stop at this point and think about it. Is this project is worth doing? Number 5, to develop cash flow, we have to identify from the beginning of the project the total costs that we will be in need to complete all the steps or stages of the project. Number 6, to determine how well the project is progressing. By estimating time and cost for the project, now we have a milestones for our project that we can use to determine how well our project is progressing by achieving each milestone throughout the life of the project. Now we are going to talk about the different methods for estimating time and cost. We have two methods, top-down estimating and bottom-up estimating. The first method is top-down. Estimates are usually derived from someone who uses experience and or information to determine the project duration and total costs. At the strategic level, top-down estimates methods are used to evaluate the project proposal. Sometimes much of the information needed to drive accurate time and cost estimates is not available in this initial phase of the project. For example, design is not finalized. In these situations, top-down estimates are used until the tasks in the WBS are clearly defined. These estimates are made by top managers who have little knowledge of the processes used to complete the project, so they can ask for assistance from others. The second method is the bottom-up approach, estimates of elements of the work breakdown structure. This method can take place after the project has been defined in detail. Good sense suggests project estimates should come from the people most knowledgeable about the estimate needed. The bottom-up approach at the work package level can serve as a check on cost elements in the WBS by rolling up the work packages and associated cost accounts to major deliverables. In conclusion, the ideal approach is for the project manager to allow enough time for both the top-down and bottom-up estimates to be worked out, so a complete plan based on reliable estimates can be offered to the customer. In this way, false expectations are minimized for all stakeholders and negotiation is reduced. In this slide, we are talking about the conditions for preparing top-down or bottom-up time and cost estimates. Here we have macro estimates, and this stands for the top-down approach, and the micro estimates, and it stands for the bottom-up approach. We have different conditions. The first one is strategic decision making. If our project will take strategic decisions, so we have to use the macro estimates, and the decision will be from the top managers, and our approach will be top-down approach. If the time and cost in our project is important, so we have to be sure from our estimating, and our time and cost have to be accurate and detailed, so we will use the micro estimates. If our project has a high uncertainty and we are not sure from our details, so we can use at the beginning the macro estimates, and when the uncertainty is clear, so we can use the micro estimates. If the project is internal and small, top managers can take care of this project and we can use the macro estimates. If our project has a fixed price contract, so we have to be sure of every detail of our prices and cost, so we have to use the micro estimates in this case. If our customer wants details for the project, we have to give him more details, and our estimating method have to give these details by use the bottom-up approach or the micro estimates. If our project has unstable scope, so at the beginning we can use the macro estimates, and after the scope is turned to be stable, we can use the micro estimates. In the top-down approaches, we will learn 4 different methods: consensus methods, ratio methods, apportion methods, and learning curves. The first method is the consensus method. This method simply uses the experience of senior and or middle managers to estimate the total project duration and costs. This typically involves a meeting where experts discuss, argue, and ultimately reach a decision as to their best guess estimates. It's important to recognize that these first top-down estimates are only rough cut and typically occur in the conceptual stage of the project. The top-down estimates are helpful in initial development of a complete plan. At this level, individual work items are not identified, or in a few cases, the top-down estimates are not realistic because top management wants the project. Nevertheless, the initial top-down estimates are helpful in determining whether the project wants more formal planning. The second method is a ratio method. Top-down approaches are often used in the concept or need phase of a project to get an initial duration and cost estimates for the project. So top-down methods usually use ratios to estimate project time and costs in this phase. For example, contractors frequently use number of square meters to estimate the cost and time to build a house. If we have a house of 2,700 square meters, might cost $160 per square meter. To identify the total cost for this house, we have to multiply 2,700 square meters times $160 per square meters. So we can here identify the total cost to be $432,000. Likewise, by experience, we can suggest that it should take approximately 100 days to complete the same house. Ratio method exercise. Mrs. Hannah and her husband Ahmed are planning their dream house. The plans for the house show the size of the house to be 2,900 square meters. The average price for a house similar to this one has been $120 per square meter. Fortunately, Ahmed is a retired plumber and feels he can save money by installing the plumbing himself. Mrs. Hannah feels she can take care of the interior decorating. The following average cost information is available from a local bank. 24% digging and framing complete, 8% roof and fireplace complete, 3% wiring design, 6% plumbing design, 5% siding on, 17% windows, walks and garage complete, 9% furnace installed, 4% plumbing fixtures installed, 10% exterior paint, light fixtures installed, finish hardware installed, 6% carpet installed, 4% interior decorating, 4% floors laid and finished. What is the estimated cost for the Ahmed's house if they use contractors to complete all of the house? Estimate what the cost of the house would be if the Ahmed and his wife use their talents to do some of the work themselves. The first requirement asks for estimating total cost for the house. We have to identify two numbers, the size of the house and the cost per square meter. Here the size of the house is 2,900 square meters and the cost per square meter is $120 per square meter. By multiplying the two numbers, we can identify the total cost of the house, and this is $348,000. The second requirement is to identify the total cost of the house without the savings that Ahmed and his wife can save. Ahmed has a talent in plumbing and Mrs. Hannah has a talent in interior decorating. So we have to identify the tasks that they can do themselves. Plumbing design will cost 6% of the total cost of the house. Plumbing fixtures installed will cost 4% of the total cost of the house. Interior decorating will cost 4% of the total cost of the house. So we can identify the total savings. To estimate the total cost for completed house using their talents, we have to subtract estimated saving from the estimated total costs. So we can identify the second requirement by $299,220. The third method is the apportion method. This method is an extension to the ratio method. This method is used when projects closely follow past projects in features and costs. Given good historical data, estimates can be made quickly with little effort and reasonable accuracy. This method is very common in projects that are relatively standard but have some small variation or customization. This method is used by some companies that apportion costs to deliverables in the WBS, given average cost percentage from past projects. Apportion method exercise. Below is a project WBS with cost apportioned by percents. If the total project cost is estimated to be $600,000, what are the estimated costs for the following deliverables? Design, programming, in-house testing. What weaknesses are inherent in this estimating approach? This is the WBS for this exercise. In this WBS, we have here find the project name, router systems project, and this is the total cost for the project. And for each deliverable, there is a percentage from the total cost represent the cost for this deliverable. And that's why we called it the apportion method. So if we use the WBS with the percentage for each deliverable, we can simply estimate the cost for each deliverable. If we need the cost for the design, we will multiply the total cost, which is $600,000 times 40%. The cost will be $240,000. And the same for programming, 600,000 times 20%. The cost will be $120,000, and for in-house testing will be $240,000. The second question in this exercise: what weaknesses are inherent in this estimating approach? This approach requires good and realistic historical data. Our data has to be very good and realistic to depend on. The second, project must be very similar to past projects for sub-deliverables to be useful. We have to find a project same to our project in all sub-deliverable to depend on the percentage that used before in the previous projects. Some projects require that the same task, group of tasks, or projects be repeated several times. Managers know that the time to perform a task improves with repetition. This phenomenon is especially true of tasks that are labor-intensive. In these circumstances, the pattern of improvement phenomena can be used to predict the reduction in time to perform the task. From empirical evidence across all industries, the pattern of this improvement has been quantified in learning curve, also known as improvement curve or experience curve, industrial progress curve. The main advantage of top-down approaches to estimating is simply that the time and cost for a specific task are not considered. Also, grouping many tasks into a common basket encourages errors or the use of imposed times and costs. So, micro-estimating methods are usually more accurate than macro methods. Now we are going to talk about types of costs for projects. The first type is the direct cost. These costs are clearly chargeable for a specific work package and can be influenced by the project manager, project team, and individuals implementing the work package. These costs represent real cash outflows and must be paid as the project progresses. So these costs are related to the work packages of the project, like labor costs, material, equipment, and others. The second type of costs is the direct project overhead costs. These costs are more closely pinpoint which resources of the organization are being used in the project and can be tied to project deliverables or work packages. So the difference between this type of cost and the previous type is that this type of cost is directly related to the projects, like the salary of the project manager and a temporary rental space for the project team. The third type of costs is the general and administrative overhead costs. These represent organization costs that are not directly linked to a specific project. These costs are carried for the duration of the project. For example, include organization costs across all products and projects such as advertising, accounting, and senior management above the project level. Here, if we have a direct cost of $20,000 and direct overhead costs for a project of $20,000, so the total direct costs for this project will be $100,000. If we need to estimate the general and administrative overhead costs for about 20% of the total direct costs, so the general and administrative overhead cost will be $20,000. So the total costs will be $120,000. And if we need to put a profit of 20% of the total costs, it will be $24,000. So the total bid will be $144,000.